Hello everyone, we are playing Grtnp, and this is another person from Reddit who was asking for a video commentary. So let's go ahead and begin. They open with d4, and my typical response is d5. Always aiming to try and achieve some form of a Semi-Slav type of setup. I guess in terms of my own chess, I have maybe sought out, from the black side at least, some sort of typical system that I can always reach a familiar type of pawn structure, whether it be the Caro-Kann or maybe a Semi-Slav. So far, so standard. Both sides are developing their pieces, and you might see a move like Queen c2 being played, or Knight f3, or maybe even you can see some bishop move taking place. The purpose of Queen c2, as I've mentioned in previous videos, is that it does kind of deny black the ability to play bishop f5. Okay, so we're going into a Semi-Slav type of setup, and I just realized my microphone is not even plugged in. That's mildly frustrating. I'm just letting my opponent know. Alright, so yeah, they're playing e3, and now I believe the correct move might be knight bd7 followed with bishop d6, and the idea behind this is that one day black wants to get this e5 push-in under favorable conditions. So typically black will play this knight bd7, bishop d6, and when white plays e4, then black will play e5. Now, Queen d3 is very interesting, and it's nothing I've seen before. And I think it cannot be recommended because now... Oh, maybe... Well, actually, maybe it can be played, because my idea was that I was going to be able to harass the queen after d captures c, but after the queen recaptures, I can't play this move b5 because the queen can then just take my c6 pawn. So it's interesting, and it's a move I haven't seen before. Is there any way to exploit that? if I go queen c7, they might take, and then after I recapture, they could get the pawn pushed in, but I don't know that that's so bad. I have to be careful of, if I were to recapture with the c pawn, then the knight could hop to b5. Alright, so I think I'll move my queen to c7. And if they were to capture cd, I'll capture ed. And now I think I have kind of renewed this threat of taking the c pawn and then playing b5 myself. And the idea behind this whole play is I want to develop my bishop to b7. So white now is thinking about their next move. I'm wondering if they play the move e4 outright here, what I would respond with. But they're not doing that. Okay, so now I think I want to maybe show why it's not advisable to have put your queen here, and to show how it can be harassed. Let me just take a second to make sure I'm not overlooking anything myself. Nothing that I see, so I'm just going to try and play this way and see how it goes. So the idea is once the queen captures c4, I'll play b5, and the queen will have to retreat. Oh, and look at that. Tactically, I already found a mistake on my part because the knight can just capture here. What a fool. Okay, so now we're going to be playing a pawn down in a worse position. Without much in the way of compensation. That's annoying. Oh! Okay, so they missed that, which is really good for me, but definitely I think the idea is that if they capture here, they are hitting my queen with their knight, and also this pawn is pinned, so if I were to, let's say, recapture, so if I were to capture the knight, which is now on this square here, the queen would then capture my queen. So that was kind of the tactical misstep on my part. At any rate, I'm going to continue developing and try and bring my pieces out to apply a little bit of pressure. You know, I think this isn't the first time that I've fallen for some sort of tactics by putting my queen on the C file. I need to definitely make a note of that. Okay, so I have a few options. I can play bishop d6 or I can play a6. I think for now I just want to try and continue developing. And one of the main ideas in the Semi-Slav is to get this c5 break-in. Because once you can get the c5 break-in, this bishop will really come to life along the a8, h1 diagonal and can have a lot of influence over the game. The move bishop d6 kind of guards this square, so I guess to think about what white ought to be doing now, they need to develop their bishop, and they probably want to get their rooks to the open and semi-open files. So just, I'd say, completing development. This pawn push here does weaken the light squares around the king. So it'll also be interesting to see if I could find a way to exploit that. For example, this move actually, I think, will might be failing, but let's take a look why. So as I said, this is a weak square here on f3, and also g2 and h1 are weak. So the idea behind white's move right now is they're thinking that they have this tactic of a knight fork coming in, hitting at my queen and bishop after I recapture. But I wonder if after the knight recaptures, I can't simply move my queen here to c6, my apologies. And then I'm threatening not only to recapture the knight with check potentially following, that'll also make it impossible for them to recapture my bishop. But even still, that's not quite working out yet. Because if I take, so let's say I take knight takes queen here and they recapture, once I take the knight, they can capture the bishop. They can capture the bishop with their knight. So instead, we're getting very low on time, so maybe we'll do this kind of counter desperado style move. Yeah, this seems to be a very tactically complex game. So I'm gonna recapture now, and then when they capture with the knight, I'll probably play queen b6. Unfortunately, this move hangs the bishop, the knight. So the rook was defending here, and now that it's left, the bishop is attacking that. So that's a tactical oversight. And also now I'm hitting at the rook. So if the rook swings back over here, I might just drop the bishop to d5, hitting at the queen. Also, I'm still applying pressure to the knight, so the queen can't go too far away. Overall, I'd say my opponent played quite well, and maybe they were just overlooking to keep some of their pieces defended. Alright, I'll tell my opponent good game, and I'll let them know I'm going to do a... No. I think, their response is LOL. At any rate, I hope you guys found this game informative. It was very tactically rich, I think, and thanks for watching. Have a good day.